Hi, this is Jeff Locklear with H&H Color Lab, and this video is to introduce and explain to you the new feature that we've just released in H Schools. That feature is knockout at the time of high-res preload. So with this new feature, we're trying to solve several workflow issues that studios might run into when it comes to green screen projects and the timing of getting the knockouts done. So with this new feature, when you create a green screen project, the project will automatically be set for high-res preload. So what that means is all green screen projects will use high-res preload. Then once those images are actually preloaded, the preload itself is finished, then we will create a knockout-only order for all the images that have just been preloaded from that project. So the thing you need to keep in mind is you'll need to be very aware of editing your project's images down to just the images that you want to order from. So cull everything down to either one each, or if it's a proof plan, perhaps two each, so that you only get charged for the knockouts that you want to be charged for. So keep that in mind. And what this is going to do for the studios is all green screen projects really should be and use high-res preload, because we need to get those images stored at the lab so that you don't accidentally get charged for a second knockout on images because you re-uploaded or sent in a secondary order for images that have already been knocked out. That's the big feature of using high-res preload. And with starting that knockout itself at the time of finishing the high-res preload, it helps you get a jump on that 2-day service time that it takes to get the knockouts done. So those knockouts can be being performed in the lab while you're finishing up getting your data organized in the project, cropping, those sort of things. So it helps you to get a jump on that process. So let's go ahead and look at when you create a green screen project, what you'll see on the project setup and reports dialog. Visually, nothing's changed. The interface is the same. You'll go ahead and you'll put in your school name and select your package group as usual, your default crop aspect ratio. But now you'll notice when I check green screen that the high-res preload checkbox automatically checks. It's grayed out so that it cannot be unchecked. So for green screen projects, again, high-res preload will always be used. This doesn't mean that I can't do a non-green screen project and use high-res preload. That functionality is the same. I would just come in and check it for high-res preload if it were not a green screen project. But the moment you set it, check it for a green screen project, that high-res pre-upload checkbox now is grayed out, cannot be unchecked, because all green screen projects are required to use the high-res preload functionality. Okay, now that the images are imported into the project, one other thing that you'll notice that's different that was introduced with our image level KO option is all the images in the project by default will have a red KO flag underneath the images in their lower right hand corner. That flag is just an indication that these images are going to be sent for knockout. We introduced in a previous version of software the ability for you to selectively pick which images you wanted to have go through the knockout service. In the case of this particular project, if we look at the bottom in the taskbar, there's 12 images in the project for the purpose of this demo, and all 12 are set for KO, and all 12 need to be high-res preloaded before I can place any package orders or service item orders. So let's go ahead and look at how the actual high-res preload process works, and so you can also see the indicator of when that high-res preload is completed. You'll see that there is a KO or a knockout only order being sent to the lab at the time of the completion of the high-res preload. So let's go ahead and look at the pre-upload now. I'm going to go ahead under Project and select Pre-upload Images. So the first thing you'll see that's new is a warning dialog that's going to give you an image and subject count so that you can be aware of how many images of how many subjects are in this pre-upload so that you can see that you've either culled the images or not culled the images. Because again, keep in mind, however many images are in this pre-upload, as soon as it is finished, there's going to be a KO only or a knockout only order sent to the lab to start the knockout process as soon as we complete the pre-upload. In the case of this simple order, there's just 12 images of 12 subjects, so obviously there's one of each. And I'm going to go ahead and start that pre-upload. I'm going to click on yes, and my high-res pre-upload credentials are the next thing that shows, which you're used to seeing. And it tells me how many images again. And the pre-upload itself will start. So this process is all the same. We're pre-uploading the images, and it'll be finished here in just a second. And you'll see what you see now as far as, okay, we've got an order that's going to be actually placed to the lab. Okay, now what you'll see is you'll notice there that there was an indication that the high-res upload was completed and that a KO only order was uploaded to the lab. So that indicates that that upload has been completed, and obviously the KO only order has been uploaded to the lab. So if we go ahead and close this now, and let's go look at our Manage Orders dialog so you can see how that order for KO only appears in the Manage Orders area. Okay, so now we're looking at the Manage Orders dialog, and you can see in here that, let's just take for instance on the top here, that order there is a package order type. All the rest of these are knockout only order types. The last one that we just did for the demonstration was this one down here. It gives a description, the project name, package group, the number of images, the job type. Order type is knockout, okay, because that's a knockout only order. And you'll notice here that the application itself, HH Schools, generates a knockout only order number that's to be used in the lab to get the order started through processing. In this case, it's indicated by KO, then the account number, and then there's an alphabetic following for that, indicating like this order here was BT. So there's been multiple KO only orders run through this actual version of the software. So that's the way you can track your KO only orders once they get into the lab. Okay, and wrapping up, just keep in mind now that as part of the workflow for a green screen project, high-res preload will be part of the process. And once you finish your high-res preload of those images, the software will issue a knockout only order that will start in the lab, so we can start the process of knocking out those images while you're perhaps working on some other things within the project itself to help you kind of gain some efficiencies in time. But please keep in mind that you'll need to cull your images down to the images that you want to order from prior to starting that high-res preload, because you want to avoid, obviously, any unneeded, unnecessary knockout fees. And also any subsequent imports of images into your green screen projects. You'll be prompted to pre-upload those in the same manner. And every time you do a preload, you will see that those images will be sent to knockout. It'll create a knockout only order. Again, keeping the process rolling and getting your orders through the lab more quickly, more efficiently, and on time for on-time delivery to your customers.